Hi friends, this is Prem. Today we are going to discuss about the very important video and very important update from DHS regarding the F and J visas. Lot of questions around it and lot of people are asked whether is it safe to travel with the F visa now. What will happen if they are trying to apply the parallel master? Whether I-539 is always mandate for them. So lot of questions. Even I have so many questions, and let's ask this question to our attorney Henry. He is from Manifest Law, and Manifest Law is giving a free consultation for you. You have the QR code on your screen. Just scan it and schedule your appointment. It's completely free. Hi Henry, thanks for your time. Today we are going to discuss about the important video. So before going into the video, வணக்கம், எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
நல்லா இருக்கேன் நீங்க?
Yeah, I am good, Henry. DHS policy changes on the federal register regarding the F1 visa, particularly for the students. So, what it is saying, Henry, for the high level?
Basically, since the 1970s, when a student comes in on an F or a J visa, then they don't get a specific date on their I-94. They get a DS marking for duration of status, and it means that as long as they have a valid service record in the university or the J1 sponsoring organization, they can just remain in the United States in valid immigration status. So if you just finish one degree, you can go back to school or you can change schools. All you need is just a new I-20 or for a J1 a new DS 2019, and that means you are in status. Now, this new rule changes that and goes back to the old way, which means that every F1 or J1 that enters the country will actually get a specific date on the I-94. And then, just like with an H4, if you are nearing the expiration on the I-94, you can't just go get an I-20. You also have to file the I-539 and ask for an extension. Length of how much time you get on your I-94 will be limited to either the program length. So that means if it's a 3-year program, you get 3 years. If it's a 1-year master's, you get 1 year. But it will be no more than 4 years. 4 years is going to be the maximum. So, for example, if you enroll in a 5-year PhD program, you will get 4 years on your I-94. And then at the end of the 4 years, you have to file the 539 to extend your status to make sure that you have enough time and legal status to actually graduate from your program. The rule becomes effective on September 15th. So anybody who is coming into the country before September 15 will still have DS marked on their I-94, but anybody who comes in after, they will get a specific date on their I-94. There's also some other changes in the regulations in addition to that I-94 change. For example, the new rule says that you're not allowed to change schools within the first year of your studies. So if somebody's coming in to study in the United States, they have to finish at least the first year in the first school that they go to before they're allowed to transfer over. Another one is also that they say you're not allowed to do multiple degrees on the same level. So every time that you graduate, you're supposed to move up to the next level. So if you do associates, then bachelor's, then master's, then PhD, basically they want to limit people doing multiple master's degrees. So right now, it's pretty common for somebody to do a master's, then work for a while, and then go back and do another master's with CPT maybe, and now they're going to be limiting that. So I don't know exactly what are the limits going to be. For example, the big question that I have that I don't know yet the answer to is, if you have an MS, let's say in computer science, can you go do an MBA? Right? Because it's like they are both masters, but they are clearly different, right? One is for a specific discipline in the science field, and one is a MBA program that's maybe for somebody who is trying to get more management training or something like that. So, but right now, I'm operating under the assumption that if you have one master's, they will not let you get enrolled in another one. So there's going to be some limits to that.
You raised a good question, and this is a very big change because it's very common among the students to do the parallel master. So this is a big impact for them, because as you said, if it is only you have to climb the ladder, then from the master you have to go to the PhD. So the studies are very restrictive. And I have a question. So you said it's effective from September 2026. 15 or 16, whatever the date. So what happens if someone is applying the STEM OPT or OPT after that? Say example, if the person comes through the stamping D/S duration, and they are trying for the OPT and STEM OPT. After this rule become effective, what they have to do?
If you are currently inside the United States and you don't leave, then let's say you're currently on OPT and next year you want to apply for STEM OPT. There is a transition period that if you can file your STEM OPT extension before March 18th, then it's going to be the same process as before. You just file the 765 and then you get an automatic extension and you get your 2 years of STEM OPT. If either you have entered the country after September 15th, meaning that you have a different date on your I-94, or if you just are not able to file before March 18 because the deadline for you can't apply more than 90 days before your OPT expires. So if your filing date just ends up after March 18th, then in addition to the 765, you also have to include the 539. So it would be similar to like when somebody applies for an H4 and H4 EAD, you'll basically be applying for the OPT or STEM OPT EAD card and bundling it with the extension of stay I-539 to extend your F1 status. Then pay filing fees for both of those and file both. What I don't know right now is if they will be offering premium processing for that 539, because there are, because if you're changing into F1, you can premium process for the 539, but because it's a new filing category that USCIS has not issued any instructions for yet, we don't know if there's going to be premium processing available, but they do say that they will still have that automatic extension of employment authorization. So even if you bundle 765 and I-539 together, you'll automatically be authorized to continue working during your OPT. Or if you're a student and you're just applying for the 539, then by submitting the extension on time, you will be automatically allowed to continue studying and continue working on campus the 20 hours per week.
Yeah, it makes sense. So 539, does it contains the biometric as well as a part of the process?
Yes, it's pretty common nowadays to have that, but not every time. I don't see 539 is always getting biometrics. I think that's more of a case by case. But if you're doing it with the 765, then it's going to be with biometrics.
Okay. You said the first year you cannot change the school, but I believe that is only for the bachelor's. Masters, you cannot change the school at any part of your program time, isn't it?
It's not exactly clear to me because the language in the regulation is something about that you cannot change your academic objectives except in some exceptional circumstances. So you basically have to get approval from the DSO if you want to change something in your master's program, whether it means changing the degree or changing the school. Unclear to me what that exactly means, or when will the DSO agree and when will the DSO say I don't agree. I guess that remains to be seen on how that's going to impact people. So if anybody is right now looking at programs, if you want to enroll in a second master's, basically you need to do it in August, right? Like start the program in August, because if you're already enrolled in a second master's before the new rule takes effect, then you would be allowed to graduate in that second master's. But if you wait until after September 15, for example, for spring 2027, I don't think they will even allow you to enroll. Big question is going to be for people who are maybe currently on STEM OPT. I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, my OPT expires in December. What should I do? And that basically means, well, you can either use up all of your STEM OPT until December, and then you will not be allowed to do a master's, but you could go do a PhD in 2027, or you can give up your STEM OPT early and start a new master's in August 2026. Then you would still be allowed to enroll in a second master's, which won't be a possibility anymore in September.
Yeah, that is a good advice, Henry, because the people is having very less time, but still they have time to do something, because after September they don't have any other option. They have to climb the ladder above, and it is very restrictive. So what will happen if anyone is on the DS annotation on the stamping, and if they are traveling after September to India, what will happen if they are coming back to the USA?
when they enter, the CBP should be looking at their program end date on the I-20, and then the CBP should be giving them program end date plus 30 days for grace period, and that should be their I-94 expiration date. And then they come in, and then before that expiration date, they need to be filing something, otherwise they're going to be considered out of status.
Sure. As a part of the regulation, I hear that there is a changes on the grace period as well. Can you explain that?
So far, F1s have had a grace period of 60 days, whether that's after the program end date or after OPT. Now it's going to be 30 days.
But it is not applicable for the persons who entered before this rule, right? Say example, they entered on April with the D-S status, right? They still have the 60 days, right?
Basically, if you're already in the United States now, or if you enter back before September 15th, then you will have 60-day grace period until the next time that you re-enter. Then it will reset, and you will be subject to the new rule, and it will be 30 days. So if you continue being in the United States for several years without traveling, then you will have the 60-day grace period. But even if you have DS on your I-94 now, you are still going to have to file 539s to extend your stay after, for example, your graduation or after your OPT. So you cannot, even let's say you are currently in the United States, you have an I-94 that says duration of status, and you graduate in 2 years, right? Or your OPT expires in 2 years. Even though you have DS on your I-94, the DHS now requires you that if you then want to switch to a different degree program, go to school, you will have to file the 539 to extend your status.
Yeah, it makes sense. So that is after March, right? So after March, whenever they goes from graduation to the OPT and the OPT to the STEM OPT, they have to file the 485 with the I-539, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's good. It's very clear, Henry. So there is only one advantage bring the D-S now, right? It's like a 60 days grace period. Remaining things remains common.
Several people have asked me, like, so should I not travel? And it seems to me there's not really that big of a difference in whether you travel or not, because if you graduate more than a year from now, you're going to have to file 539s anyway. It's not like you can skip that part if you never travel, right? So the only difference is going to be that grace period, and most people never even have to use that grace period or anything. So if you have to travel for any reason, then like that, I think that's okay. But the main thing is, like, what are the programs you're going to be allowed to enroll in, and if you need to make changes, how much is that going to be restricted? Those are going to be the big things that really are going to impact, how people can, what programs people can pick, and whether they can finish anything, or if they're going to have trouble, with not graduating or something like that.
Thanks, Henry. You just clearly mentioned all the points and very good advice about the people who are traveling, because there is not much difference between the DS and the I-94. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, whether you have DS or I-94, all the rules applies to everyone. Thanks, Henry. Thanks for all the information, and it's very clear as usual. Nandri.
Nandri.
Vanakkam.